Hi, everybody. Boy, did I love your comments. I love the comments, and I just want to thank everybody. By the way, my name is Lynn, and I'm Lynn Tarot Readings. In case you haven't never watched my channel before, and the reason it's been 6 days since I put out a video is I was waiting for something good to happen to read on. Oh Lord, it's not like I think most of us weren't expecting this. I'm waiting for this for quite a while now. I mean, everybody that watches my channel is up on what's going on around the world. I know I was in a conundrum when I was in rehab because they asked me if I wanted a flu shot. And the minute they asked me, I thought, yeah, you probably should get a flu shot because of this C stuff going around. You know, knowing it wasn't here yet, but knowing that I might need the immunity because if you're over 65, they give you an extra immune boost in your shots. And yet, one time I got one and I was so weak I couldn't get up and down from my couch for a week, and I was afraid to get one while I was rehabbing because I knew I needed to do those exercises and, took everything I had to get up and move around, but through all that pain at that time, and I didn't want to be so weak I couldn't move. So I didn't get one. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And it was just a regular shot like they give everybody every year for the flu and stuff. And I'd already had a pneumonia shot a couple of years ago. But anyway, I hope you're all fine. And I hope you're trying to figure out what to do to stay safe. I know this is my third day under house arrest. And what's so strange about this is since I moved up here to San Diego and I've been in this small apartment where I didn't have to always be busy all the time just trying to keep the yards and house up and pull up and all that kind of stuff up, that I've had days where I went down for 2 or 3 days and not left the house and not even realized it sometimes. A couple of years ago when I wasn't feeling too good. And it never seemed to bother me. In fact, I'd kind of get housebound and then I'd feel guilty because I didn't even want to leave the house. And I'd find about a million reasons. I'd start to leave and I'd go back and get something else, go back and get something else. But I had kind of gotten over that because I've been feeling so much better since I've been off of medication they had me on before I fell, which was actually Lasix, a form of Lasix, fluoxamine or fluoxamide, I think is how you pronounce it. I used to be a pharmacy tech and I could spell all that stuff, but I wasn't good at pronouncing it even when I did that for a living for a while. But they took me off of that when I was in the hospital waiting to have my leg operated on and stuff because my whole system was so low that they had to give me 5 blood transfusions, and it was because they had me on Lasix when I didn't need to be on Lasix. So that was interesting. So I felt a lot stronger since this happened to me. And I probably need to cut a lot of this out. I'm just going in circles. This is a lot of stuff people would be interested in. But in case I've studied a lot of naturopathic stuff all my life. And I'm not going to say anymore because I'm not pushing anything. But I sent off for something myself that I used to take all the time when I had the bar and I just couldn't afford to get sick. I'd take it to take when there was something going around or if I had to fly somewhere or something, and it was the colloidal silver. And it was the one I got was from the Herbal Healer, and it was the only place where you could find it. It was a pharmaceutical grade, 500 parts per million. So I'm not going to say any more about how to use it, what it is, what to do, because if you're interested in this already, you've already checked on it. But in case you wanted to get a really good grade, that's a good place to get it. I've used their stuff for 30 years, and they've got a real high grade. I used to make the Easy At tea from there, and had my dad on it for about 6 or 8 years between the time he was 77 and 87 or whatever. And brought his sense of smell back, the Easy Out Tea did. But anyway, I'm not trying to sell anything, but anybody that's studied this stuff knows what I'm talking about. And since I'd moved to San Diego, I had run out of some of this stuff and not used it for a while, but I decided to send off and get some of this stuff and see if I can't get my immune system up and working really great and to get me through all this stuff. I know it's really funny because I stayed home so much that I couldn't believe how much I stayed home before this happened, and now that it's like every day is like 3 days. And is that just like the child in all of us? Is that because, well, I have to stay home and I have to stay in? I mean, I went out and walked today because I live in San Diego and it's been raining here for 6 weeks, but it was beautiful. Today the sun was shining, so I went out and got some good walks in, which I'm supposed to be walking every day for my leg anyway, and I've had managed to do it almost every day or every other day because I had been going to Costco and Walmart and those kind of places and stocking up on stuff. And then about 3 days ago, it was like I was just told, no more of this, just stop right now. In fact, I even bought a little sweater coat at Costco, and I'm not even going to take it back, and it's too small. I guess I'll just have to find somebody else to give it to. But it's really cute. In fact, it's purple. Can't believe it's purple, huh? Everything I own's purple. And it would be purple and green if they made more green clothes. They don't make that many beautiful greens, especially for older women. I never find them. But anyway, I didn't know what to read on with the cards, and I didn't know what to. I know I've had a lot of time to think and meditate and really try to pay attention to what's going on this last week or so. And I've thought a whole lot about Eckhart Tolle because I've read and listened to almost everything he ever read or put out, audio even. And there was one passage from one of his books where he talked about the earth. And when we start choking the earth, it's like a plague on the body. It's like you run a fever to burn the plague off, to get rid of the infection and stuff. And he said that's kind of like the earth is. And I thought he said with all the fossil fuels and everything, it was like we were literally killing the earth. And like the body, when the body got almost killed and invaded by stuff, that it would run a fever and kill it off. So anyway, I thought of this as nature's way of fever. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but it's like nobody was going to listen to anybody and get off fossil fuels. Maybe before this is all over and stuff, maybe it's definitely going to change the whole world now, as far as how the whole world thinks, or how we recoup from it, or what we decide to start doing again. I guess if you could find one good thing about all this, it might be that it'd be good for the planet. I've heard that from outer space that it's already got a little less pollution just from everything that shut down in China. I don't know if that's true or not because I haven't seen the pictures, but kind of makes sense. And in fact, everything I say is just for fun. It's not truth. Some of it's my truth that I've learned over the years, but it's not I'm not saying that any of this is whatever. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, couldn't figure out what to read on. There's not too much sense in asking how long this is going to last. If I had to take a guess, they might let us off house arrest in 6 weeks or something, but it's going to come back. If it slows down and stuff, what they're trying to do is keep it coming through slow enough that we've got enough equipments and enough people working medical to take care of the people that get sick. And if they can keep us isolated from each other, it'll keep us from all getting sick at once. But until they come up with some kind of vaccination for this or something, I don't really think it's going anywhere. I think right now that the goal is just to slow it down a little bit. And so far in the United States, we haven't been able to do that because we haven't had the testing equipment. And I know my daughter's director of respiratory at Children's Hospital here in San Diego, and she, you know, I've known for 6 weeks or more, maybe probably more than that, I don't know how long exactly, that they didn't have any testing equipment for this, and they didn't know where they were going to get it at, and they didn't know anybody else that had any or where they could get it from. And then they didn't have enough masks, and they didn't have enough none of this stuff. And so that's another reason I've been kind of funked out, and I didn't want to just get on here and push out bad news, but I think I've been a little bit depressed because I've got a granddaughter that's a nurse in Florida, and a grandson that's an x-ray technician here, and my daughter that works at Children's Hospital, and I'm really worried for my family. That's who I'm worried for. But and it's also sad that they can't come see me because of that. But we talk on the phone, and we I started to say Skype, but FaceTime each other. So that works. But anyway, and I hope that everybody's doing that with their family, to stay up with them, because it really helps and makes me feel better. In fact, I felt really better the last 24 hours because I had been on the phone and everything much more than I usually am when I'm just hanging out around here, getting in contact with old friends and seeing what they're doing and what's coming up and what's going down. I haven't watched much of the news till the These are from the viewers. It said, when I'm already asked, and this has been like a week ago, will Trump try to cancel the election and blame it on this virus? What they need to do is start working on it right now, and set everybody up by mail like California and Oregon, like California and Oregon is. In California and in Oregon, especially if you have a driver's license, you're registered to vote, and they just send out the stuff by mail. And it shouldn't have to include a driver's license, but it should be like that all over. If you're registered, they just send it out by mail and you get to vote. And we've all known that the standing in line for hours and making it hard to vote's been nothing but bull hockey. I'll be nice, bull crap for years. That it's just been a farce to try to keep as many Democrats from voting they can, because they always did it in the poor areas and in the areas that weren't all white and stuff. It's where they made it. It's where they've always made it so hard to vote. So, well, you know, it's all ridiculous. But and even before it came legal just to sign up to vote by mail, I always used to vote absentee. So, because I was too lazy to go stand in line, and I lived right next door to a polling place. I guess I've been lazy all my life. But living in California, I've always had my ballot sent to me and just voted ahead of time. We used to be way ahead of time when it was absentee. And of course, I don't think they counted the absentee votes unless there was a real tie-off, and in California there usually wasn't. But at least your vote was counted, and if it needed to be, and it was in there. So, what did I... Might as well laugh. Keep from crying around here. So, this is asking, are we going to have an election in November? It's what one of the listeners wanted to know. And I didn't write down who it was. One of the viewers wanted to know. And that's better than anything I could think of to come up with. So let's, I have to cut a lot of this out because I heard it's really hard to get anything up on the internet. So anyway, that's better than I could come up with. In case this is where I just cut into this and leave all the first part out. If anybody wants a private reading, it's lynntarotreadings@gmail.com. And let's see, are we going to have an election in November, or is Trump going to try to cancel it? I don't think he's going to have much power by November. No matter what happens or doesn't happen, the lion's sack of whatever. He's I think people are, once people in their family start dying, they're the ones that have even been following him like he's some kind of god, even though they know he lies every time he opens his mouth. I think they're just going to be bailing on him too. So at least I don't think they're, no matter who gets the Democratic nomination, which it looks like it's Biden from now, if he can stay healthy. Many of them can stay healthy. I thought maybe that's why that Chelsea Gabbard, or I can't say her name right, was staying in, because she thought maybe the other two would croak and now she'd be the only one left in there. That's a horrible thing to say, but I kind of thought about that. But I noticed she got out and started kissing the ring too. We'll just call it kissing the ring. I was really disappointed that they went ahead and had elections like in Florida. I mean, it's a hot spot for this virus anyway, and they had those old people stuck into basements and everything else right up next to each other. Was it really that important to prove a point? I don't think it would have changed who was going to vote for who that much to have waited a couple of more months and maybe done it by mail or figured out some other way to do it where it didn't put people's lives in danger. But the Democratic Party just couldn't pass that up, could they? They had a roll going, and they were terrified they were going to lose it. And because of this coronavirus, they will probably get Biden in there if he can hold it together long enough to get through the election. But if it wasn't for this virus, I doubt if he'd have probably lost the election, going straight up against Trump by the time Trump kept going to the right of him and bringing out all the stuff from the past and all the stuff they've got videos of him voting for and getting up and trying to get done that are really totally against anybody that has to work for a living in this world. But anyway, let's see this. We're just going to do four crossed for this election in November. Well, in the past, we got the Commerce card here. We got the Two of Wands. But in the past, we got not really just the timing of the election, but they felt like a lot of it had to do with overseas, who was going to win or something. I don't know why. At the present, we got the Apprentice. You got the Eight of Coins, the Apprentice. So Trump's trying to figure out a way to stop this election. It's definitely on his mind. He's wondering if he might be able to escape by this, because he knows he's not going to get reelected. So he may be trying to skate around that. He may be thinking that maybe that's going to end up helping him. I'm sure he's thinking of any angle he can, because he knows he's in deep doo-doo. You ought to remember that story about the little bird that was complaining about being cold, and then he fell in a little puddle of water where it had been raining, and then he was really freezing. And about that time, thought he was going to freeze to death. This horse came along and took a dump right on top of him, and it hit him, and all of a sudden he was all warm, and the only thing above it was his head. And then he started chirping and got a mouthful and it killed him. And I guess the moral of that story was supposed to be, if you're up to your neck in shit, keep your mouth shut. Well, I don't think Trump's ever going to keep his mouth shut. So anyway, I got off on a circle on that one, but I've thought of him I've thought of that old bird so many times when I've thought of Trump. So to start with, he was looking for overseas to win him the election. Now he is, at the present, actually wondering if he might be able to delay the election because of this. The challenge is that he may not even be around to delay the election because his house is going to get burned down. And unless he does some big changes on the way he's taking care of this virus, I think it's going to get burned down before the election. He may be gone before the election. So that way he couldn't postpone it. And for the outcome, we have temperance. It's just like slow down, put the brakes on, take a deep breath, everything's going to be okay. So I'd say from these 4 cards here, the person that asked me that no, the election is not going to get postponed, that it's going to probably work out better and smoother than we thought it was for some reason. I don't know what's going to cause it, but that's what the cards are saying now, that he's thought about postponing it. He's thinking right now maybe he can get away with it because of this. But we got the Tower, and that's the challenge coming right down on top of him before this. And everything's going to calm down. And we're going to be able to go to the polls. So that's what these cards are saying. Let's see I've got another question there that somebody wrote in to me. So like I say, I'm just going to do a couple of them, and I'm going to, I don't know why I'm always so afraid to do these videos. I do them, and I get excited, and I love doing them, and then I think I'm just going to come right back and do one. And then I always start thinking, oh, they don't want to hear what I have to say, blah, 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 but I enjoy doing them, and I felt so lonely, and I was hoping I could connect with some of you wonderful people. And I have a couple, they're called the Sutherlands. And they're just so nice. And they've helped me get through this so much by encouraging me and stuff. And I wanted to thank them. And thank them for some donations they've given me in the last year or two. They couldn't have came at a better time. And if anybody wants a reading, it's lynntarotreadings@gmail.com. And anyway, so what was the other question they asked me? It's this was before this virus hit so hard. It says, will Biden pick a vice president to save his ass and ours? Well, even if he did pick somebody really smart and everything, he'd have to listen to him. And whatever. I don't think he's playing with a full deck right now, but he still thinks that he's smarter than anybody else, so I can't see him listening to too many people. But if he was to get sick and not be able to do his job, if he picked the right one, they could save our ass. Maybe he will get Stacey Abrams in there. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I can't see him doing it between you and me, but that would be a good choice if he ends up getting the nomination, where it looks like there's no way that he's not at this present time. Anyway, so let's see. Will he pick? Let's see what he's going to do. Was he going to pick a good choice for a vice president that could really carry things on? Well, we got the Five of Cups in the in the recent past. I don't know if that means he couldn't do any worse than Trump. No, that's not what that means. That actually means that the people he was thinking of just up till recently Hopefully he's changed his mind, but it would not have been good picks at all. Same old, same old. Hillary Clinton 2.0 or whatever. Nobody that could really help or change anything. He didn't really have anybody very good in mind, but maybe he's going to have to find him. Let's just hope. Present. We got the 7 of coins for the present. And the 7 of coins, it looks like it'd be same old, same old. Somebody in the present, that's what he's thinking of. Somebody deep in the Democratic Party that doesn't have any differences, any changes, or whatever. But his challenge is going to be if he doesn't pick anybody that the public really wants to see in there, somebody they think that might help with the common man. Whoever even if Trump's gone, the Republicans will run somebody against him, and he's going to have a hell of a time with him. And if he doesn't bring the right person in there, because he's got too much shit out on him. His challenge is there's too many records of him saying he's wanting to cut Social Security and that he's wanting to not let people get out of student loan debt, and votes that he's done all for the credit card companies, because in the state that he runs, that's what it is all credit card companies. So there's too much stuff out there on him. If he doesn't get the right person, he's going to really need the help of whoever he chooses to push him through there to get the people to come out and vote. And then I got the 5 of coins for the last one, for the outcome. That's not good. Maybe he won't get to do this. I don't think he'll win the election if he doesn't pick the right person. And this looks like he may not pick the right person. I'm going to do one more row here right underneath this on, I don't know what would happen for Bernie Sanders to be in there. To start with, he'd have to stay in there at least for the next 2 or 3 months and see what in the hell is going to happen. I wouldn't want to get out of there right now if I was him. Things are just too up in the air right now. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to get sick. You don't know who's going to be dead in 2 weeks. Hate to say that, but that's for me even. I was out of the house 3 days ago, and that's all it takes. And it's a 3-week period from that. And then that would be with not seeing anybody. And I've had a couple people come in and help me fill out paperwork and stuff since then. We just don't know. But I'm going to do one row underneath this. I was going to do Bernie Sanders, but I'm going to do one for Sanders and see. I'm going to ask the same question. I don't see how in the world he could possibly win the nomination. But right now there's some strange things going on in this earth. I'm not saying that it would be impossible for something to change. I wasn't going to do him, but let's see. The same thing is, if he does end up being the one on the ballot, is he going to choose a vice president to help carry him through? He's got the Page of Wands. In the past, he had a really good idea who he wanted. I don't know if that's changed or if it's the same person or not, but he had a good pick in mind, somebody that would really help take him through to the finish line. And one of my decks I used to use all the time, this was the finish line card. So he did, in the past, he had a good person in mind if he would have gotten it. And then in the present, he's got special angels surrounding him. This is a good card. He's still got a lot of energy, a lot of angels, a lot of helpers from the other side. He's got and this side, but he's got a lot of angelic help helping him with what I'm not for sure, but if he whoever he's thinking about, or whoever I'm sure he already knows who he would have chose, or whatever. What would have been a great person and is a great person. And his challenge is the moon, which is secrets, innuendos, backstabbing. If something did happen where it did open up, where he was the one left on the ballot or something, this is the challenge, and I can't help but feel like that's the Democratic Party just fighting with everything they got to still keep his ass out of there. All the Feinsteins and all the people that are already been caught insider trading on this, they don't want anybody in there that's going to put an end to this gravy train and pig trough they've all been eating at. So, and she was my favorite senator for many, many years, up till the last 2 or 3 years when I started finding out some of the stuff that was going on with her. And then that stuff that she did for that Supreme Court justice, hold on to that information till the last 4 days and then put it out there, and that was ridiculous. That should have been out there a month before. She knew that stuff anyway. I've never, ever since that happened, that just turned my whole stomach. I thought she's either too old and needs to get out of there, or either she's too old and she knows exactly what she's doing, so she damn sure needs to get out of there. But we got the 3 of Cups for the outcome for Bernie here. And that's women celebrating in the streets. The last thing I was going to do was try to do with everything else going on, was do a political deal and bring Biden and Bernie back into it, because it looks like there's no way Bernie could possibly win the nomination. But for some reason, it looks like he might be there, or have a big influence over what's going on in our future. And I hope he does have an influence, whether he's as president or something else, because he's got a lot of great ideas, and we're going to have to revamp our whole society when this is over. This is not just a little kink or a little dent or a little vacation at home for 6 weeks. This is a change worldwide. And I don't know if it's because I grew up as a child with a mom and dad that went through the Great Depression, but that's all I heard all my life. And my in-laws stayed in a little dairy farm all their life and worked themselves to death because they didn't want to give up the farm, because they could still remember going hungry. They were from Wisconsin, my first in-laws, during the Depression till they got on a farm. And like I said, this is just the beginning of this. And I'm not trying to make people feel bad. And I think we're going to come out a lot better, and I think we're going to come out quicker than we did from the last Depression. But this is going to change. I don't want to say a world order, but it's going to change the way the world's doing things. I think a lot of it may be from shutting everything down. I feel like it's going to make us realize that there's a lot of stuff we're doing that doesn't need to be done, that can be revamped. And then as we start through there, it's going to open up new ways. And it could, Lord, if it could possibly get us off of fossil fuel, it could be the best thing that ever happened, besides all the people losing their lives. That wouldn't be a good thing. But if it got this planet off fossil fuel, it would be something. So anyway, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna see if this is worth putting up, or if I even got it. I may not even have the lighting right or something. That's what happens when you go so long without doing videos. You never know quite where the camera's even aimed, because this one doesn't go toward me. I just kind of have to look up there and talk, because I had to turn it around backwards to get a good picture through it. So anyway, I want to thank everybody that's watching, and thank you for your comments. Love comments. And all of you guys stay healthy. And I'll see if I can come back and read something tomorrow. If you got anything you want me to read on, it even seems harder now than it did before, when things were changing every 5 minutes political. Now that things changing every 5 minutes about how the world's going to end up, if we're all going to even make it through this or not. I'm not trying to make people feel bad. Of course, we're going to make it through this, and we're going to come out better than before. But anyway, if there's anything you want me to read on, please let me know, and I'll write it down. I wrote the 2 things I read on. I did write it right out of the questions. Thank you all, and bye-bye now.